Hey everybody, Mike Adleski here, Outreach Coordinator from Mac Incorporated. This is our next video in our Take-Home Life Bridges exercise series. So all you need for this one is a chair, and we're just going to do a couple of chair stretches, a couple of chair mobility exercises. So first one's one of my favorite stretches ever. I'm just scooting up in my chair just a little teeny tiny bit, sitting up nice and tall, and this is a seated cat-cow stretch. So I totally stole this one from yoga, but all we're going to do is tuck our chin down. We're going to let our shoulders roll forward. We're going to try to round our upper back. We're just going to get into a position where you feel a little bit of a stretch between your shoulder blades. Your shoulder blades should be pushing away from each other and forward a little bit. We're just going to hold this end position for a 1 or 2 Mississippi count. And then our next position is we're going to sit up as tall as we can, squeezing our shoulder blades together, pulling our head back, really trying to get a lot of tension between those shoulder blades. Now in that first position, we had our shoulder blades kind of away from each other. This one, we're trying to pull them together nice and tight. Like imagine like you're trying to hold a pencil between your shoulder blades. So then to repeat this one, you just kind of keep going through those 2 motions, just really rounding that upper back, pushing those arms forward, trying to get those arms nice and long. Hold it for a little 1 Mississippi count. Sit up nice and tall, big squeeze, and try to get even more tension between those shoulder blades each time you do it. So with that one, you can do each position about 10 times, just a nice easy roll forward, big hard, tense arch back. It's a really good little spine, little thoracic mobility exercise. It's great for you. So the second one we're gonna do, I'm gonna scoot back in my chair a little bit, gonna get my feet a little bit wider. So you wanna get your feet wide, where you can kind of spread your knees a little bit, but you just don't want your knees to cave in. So just try to keep your knees kind of right over your feet. Just find a good wide position here. So this one is called a Swan dive stretch. So for this one, we do a couple different positions. I'm gonna start with my arms down at my side. I'm gonna reach up nice and slow. I'm gonna get as tall as I possibly can. Trying to imagine like someone's trying to pull like a string up through your head, like you're trying to get really long spine, get nice and tall. And then we're gonna bring those arms all the way down to the floor as close as you can get. So similar to the cat-cow stretch, we're just gonna hold down here for a 1 or 2 Mississippi count. Just gonna go back right up the way we came, get nice and tall, get nice and long, really try to stretch that spine out, then bring those hands right back down. And then do another one, just do the same thing again, hands up and out to the sides, nice and tall, little 1 Mississippi count up top, bring it all the way down to the floor, 1 Mississippi count on the floor, bringing it back up, get tall, get as tall as you can when you're in that up position, and then hands back down to the sides. So same thing, you can go through that one 10 times, just nice, slow, deliberate movement, really pay attention to your breathing, really try to get nice and long, nice and tall at top, and stretch that spine out and create some space back there a little bit. Next one we're gonna do, I'm gonna scoot back in my chair, all the way back in my chair for this one. This is called a Piriformis Stretch. So your piriformis is a big strappy muscle in the back of your hip, and get really tight, it can cause your hips to get out of whack and cause some back pain, stuff like that. So it's a good idea to stretch it out once in a while. So we have 2 variations for this one. Might be a little tough to get into the stretch I'm gonna show you first, but I'll show you another one. So for our piriformis stretch, if I'm stretching my left piriformis, I'm gonna pick my left leg up. I'm gonna go left ankle right on top of my right knee. I'm gonna try to get this shin as parallel to the floor as I can. Then I'm just gonna hang out here. So you got a couple different options of ways you can stretch this. I really like adding a little movement to it, moving side to side, moving back and forth, whatever you wanna do. Try to hold it for about a minute or 2. So you just wanna hold it till you feel that spot loosen up back there. So if that's a little too tough, getting that leg all the way up and over, you can reach down, grab your ankle, and just try to turn that knee out as best you can while you're trying to pull that foot up. So it stretches the same thing. You get a little bit deeper with your foot all the way on top of your leg there, and that's a really good sign you have good hip mobility too, so it's a nice little test for that. But like I said, if you want to do a minute or 2 on each side, just constantly moving around, prying back and forth, really try to open up that hip as best you can. So the last exercise I got for you, just a little ankle mobility exercise. So it's just a seated ankle rock exercise. So I'm just pulling my toes up as high as I can get them, and then pulling my heels up. So similar to the timing on the other one, just holding it for a 1 Mississippi count, 1 Mississippi count. The goal is get as big a range of motion out of that ankle as you can, especially when we're bringing those toes up. That's called dorsiflexion. The higher you can pull those toes up, the better functioning that ankle mobility is. And you really want that, because bad ankle mobility causes all kinds of problems. So this is part 1 of this stretch. Part 2 of this stretch is pull your feet back just a little teeny tiny bit. Go way up on your toes, and then your goal is to do circles with your ankles. So I'm just trying to draw a big circle with my heel, and I'm trying not to let my heel touch the ground. So you can kind of pivot on your toes a little bit. So I am going counterclockwise first, do 10 times one way, bring it back. Now I'm going clockwise, doing 10 times the other way, and just trying to rotate through, get as big a range of motion as you can. And just imagine, like I said, you're drawing a big zero or a circle with your heel, and then trying to keep that heel off the ground the whole entire time. But that's it. So that's a couple little chair mobility exercises. It's just about everything you're working with there. Hope these were helpful.